Chapter 65. The First Lesson. Date: 3038-0. Second Quarter, Iron Confederacy. Secluded Valley. Word spread fast through the little valley. Demir hadn't seen dwarves move that quickly since the last goblin raid, but the moment Dernak barked from his porch that the forge needed stoking, half the drinkers at the inn sobered up in an instant.
"You're joking,"
one stout fellow whispered as Demir passed. Another tugged at his beard, eyes wide.
"If the old goat's going back to the forge, the world must be ending."
But Dernak silenced them all when he hobbled into the square cane, tapping against the cobblestones.
"I'll nae be forging,"
he thundered, his voice still carrying the weight of command.
"Yea, latta, prep the hearth, scrub the anvil, clean bring steel and coal from storage. The lad here,"
he jabbed a crooked finger at Demir,
"he'll be the one swinging. I'll just shout when he's making an arse of it."
The dwarves muttered, but no one argued. It was rare enough to hear the elder give orders. By the time the sun dipped behind the valley walls, the forge glowed like a slumbering beast roused from years of sleep. Demir stood before it with sweat already dripping from his brow, though he hadn't yet lifted a hammer. The air was hot, thick with the tang of burning coal. Smoke curled up through the chimney, carrying sparks that danced like fireflies in the gathering dusk. Dernak eased himself onto a heavy stool nearby, one hand resting on his cane, the other gripping a mug of something stronger than tea. Brovik hovered at his shoulder like a nervous apprentice.
"All right, boy. First thing, forget armor. That's for covering your soft human hide. Weapons are different. A sword is nae just steel. It's balance, temper, and soul. You get it wrong, it snaps in your hand. You get it right, it sings."
Demir swallowed.
"Where do I start?"
"By listening, not asking stupid questions. Brovik, show the lad the small billets."
Brovik hustled to fetch a stack of rough steel billets. But he fumbled one and it clattered across the floor with a ringing clang.
"By the mountain god's hairy arse, Brovik, ye call that carrion? Ye drop steel like that again and I'll shave your beard myself."
Demir bit back a grin. Brovik turned crimson and muttered under his breath.
"Right, human, take a billet, heat till it's red nae white. White's for fools who like brittle blades. Watch it careful, you're gonna make 50 nails, proper 50 nails."
Demir slid one small billet into the fire. The roar of the forge filled his ears, the heat licking at his face. Slowly the steel darkened, then bloomed into glowing red like a sunrise captured in metal.
"Now pull it, hammer it long ways. A nail needs shape before sharp."
Demir obeyed, hammer ringing against steel. But he swung too heavy and the billet warped crooked.
"Ye donkey-fingered clod, what are ye doing making horseshoes? Light taps. Let the steel tell you where it wants to bend. Gimme that."
He got up from the comfy chair with effort.
"I'll show ye once. Learn faster."
When he swung a gentle yet shaping swing, Demir felt it. The sensation rippled through his arms, a ghost of knowledge settling into his muscles.
"Heck yeah,"
he said to himself. Demir grimaced and tried again, gentler this time. The billet straightened under his strokes. He also started counting swings. He was sure now the game had started to keep score.
"I better. Even a blind goblin learns to swing straight after enough whipping."
Hours crawled past. Demir reheated, hammered, quenched, then reheated again, every step punctuated by Dernak's insults.
"Too fast. Ye quench like a drunk pissin' in the wind. Too slow. By the time ye strike again, the steel's gone cold. Brovik, stop hovering like a broody hen and fetch more coal."
At one point, Brovik muttered,
"Your temper's worse than the forge, old man,"
only to get a sharp cuff from Dernak's cane. But through the shouting, Demir began to feel it. That strange connection he'd found once before with armor. The rhythm of hammer and fire seeped into him. Not mastery. Not yet, but a hint. The steel under his hands seemed to breathe with him. By late afternoon, Demir's arms trembled, his shirt soaked through. On the anvil lay something that resembled crude nails. The edges were rough, the lines uneven, but he'd produced 50 nails.
"Pathetic. But ye didn't quit, so ye've done better than half the pups I trained."
Demir panted.
"What now?"
"Now? Now you've learned that weapons take patience. Tomorrow you'll learn real sword forging. A sword's nae just edge, it's weight grip flow. Without that, ye may as well swing a club."
Demir nodded, chest swelling despite the elder's insults. As dusk settled, Brovik slumped against the wall, beard singed from tending the fire. Demir wiped soot from his face, staring at the rough nails in his hand.
It's not much.
It's shite, but it's ye shite. That matters. Ye'll make better, if ye keep your thick skull in line and your hammer steady.
Demir bowed his head slightly.
Thank you, master. Thank you, master.
Don't thank me. Prove you're worth the coal you've burned.
He leaned back, eyes half closed.
Tomorrow we start again. I'll make a weaponsmith of ye yet, or I'll die shouting at ye.
Or both.
Dernak swiped at him with his cane missing by an inch, and Demir chuckled despite his exhaustion. Later that evening, Demir's shack door knocked. There was one of the younger dwarves, Mirgit, standing with 2 chickens.
Elder Dernak sent these.
When Brovik tried to reach for them,
Oh yeah, that old coot has a good side too.
Mirgit pulled back the chickens.
He didn't send it for you. He said, give these to Demir, so he offers them to Asina, the giant wolf lurking near our woods.
Chapter 66, 50 Blades. Date, 33480. Second quarter, Iron Confederacy. Secluded valley. The morning bells of the valley rang with the rhythm of hammers long before the sun had cleared the mist. For the first time in decades, the forge belched smoke in earnest, and dwarves who usually only drank or whittled gathered in the square to whisper about the human lad and the elder who had sworn never to touch smithing again. Demir stood before the forge with ash already smeared across his cheeks. His arms ached from yesterday's endless pounding of nails, yet his chest carried a strange pride. Each nail had been a lesson. Somewhere between the 34th and the 42nd, something invisible had clicked inside him. He had felt the steel's resistance bend to his rhythm. And when the 50th was quenched, he swore something deeper had stirred. A faint rush, like the world itself, had acknowledged his persistence.
It was more than charged strikes. I am actually learning. Maybe they're combining.
Dernak arrived with his cane, tapping his thick beard still damp from his morning wash. Brovik trailed after him, yawning, carrying a sack of kindling.
All right, human. Yesterday ye learned to hit metal until it stops looking like pig iron. Today you'll learn why swords are nae armor. Ye ready?
Demir nodded, swallowing dry spit. Dernak leaned forward, pointing with his cane at the billets stacked nearby.
A plate of armor? You hammer, you shape, you rivet it to leather. Even if it bends, the bastard wearing it still lives. A sword? One bad quench, one hairline crack, and it'll snap the first time you trust it. And when that happens,
he tapped his chest with the cane.
Your belly's open and your blood's in the dirt, so don't ye ever forget, boy. Armor forgives mistakes, weapons don't.
Demir let the words sink in. They sounded less like smithing instruction and more like law.
So, cooling is the most dangerous part?
Dernak's eyes narrowed.
Dangerous? Ah, it's cruel. You spend hours hammering, folding, coaxing the steel to behaving in a breath of water or oil it can betray ye. The quench is when the steel decides if it'll be your friend or your killer, and steel remembers.
Remembers?
Aye, every strike ye give, every heat. Ye rush every time ye hammer without listening. The steel keeps count. Treat it like a stubborn mule, and it'll buck ye when ye need it most. Treat it with respect, and maybe it'll hold.
Demir felt a chill crawl up his back, despite the forge's heat.
Now, homework, 50 blades, nae fancy, nae polish, just billets hammered, drawn, shaped, quenched. You'll do every step as I say, slow, steady, heat to red, nae white, quench in oil, nae water. Handle with tongs, nae with those bare fingers like ye did yesterday unless ye fancy stumps. 50 blades, lad. By the end, you'll ken what steel wants.
Demir's mouth fell open.
50? And how long?
Till I say stop. Maybe a month, maybe a year. Depends how fast you learn. Depends if you live that long.
Brovik clapped Demir on the shoulder.
You asked for this, boy. Remember that.
Demir exhaled through his nose.
50 blades. I'll do it.
The forge became his world. From dawn to dusk, Demir hammered billets into crude blade, shapes, sweat dripping from his brow, arms screaming with exhaustion. The first few bent like warped planks. Dernak hurled insults from his stool.
Ye call that a sword? Looks like something a goblin would use to scrape dung from its boots.
Demir tried again. His second cracked in the quench.
I made them in the basin. Why are they turning up like this?
Ha! Quench too fast. Ye drowned it like a kitten. Ye learn nothing, lad.
By the fifth, Demir's hands blistered raw against the hammer's grip. He bit his cheek and kept going. The dwarves passing through the square began laying bets on how long he'd last. By the end of the first week, Demir had produced a row of ugly blades leaning against the wall, but each one survived the quench intact. And each night when he dragged his weary body to bed, he swore he would figure it out, like he had with armor. Every morning Dernak handed Demir a slab of meat wrapped in cloth, sometimes venison, sometimes boar, once even goat.
What's this for? What's this for?
He asked the first time. Dernak scowled.
For Asina, ye thick-skulled pup, you think she follows you for your charm? She's a spirit of the woods. You're in her debt, so you'll bring her meat every day, a pact of sorts. She keeps you alive, you feed her.
What if she doesn't show?
She's watching, always. Leave it at the tree line. She'll take it when she likes.
So Demir did. Each dawn before hammering, he walked to the edge of the valley and laid down the meat. At first nothing happened, but by the third day he found the offering gone before he returned. On the fifth, he caught a glimpse of silver fur sliding between the trees. On the seventh, he woke to paw prints around the forge as though Asina had circled him while he worked. It unnerved him, yet it also steadied him. Somehow knowing she was out there watching pushed him to strike straighter, to endure longer. Days blurred. Demir's body toughened. His shoulders hardened, his forearms knotted with new muscle. Blisters became calluses. His strikes grew surer, more rhythmic, ringing like music instead of random clanging. Still, the failures came. Blades cracked, some twisted beyond use. Dernak sneered at each one, but behind the insults Demir began to hear a grudging respect.
Better. Still shite, but better shite.
By the 20th blade, Demir could tell by the glow alone when the billet was ready. By the 30th, he could hear the steel's pitch shift under the hammer, a subtle note telling him when it was too thin or uneven. And through it all, Dernak barked reminders.
Patience, boy. Ye rushy brick. Balance. Nay, one wants a sword that swings like a club. Respect the steel, lad. It's got more memory than you do.
Demir cursed under his breath more than once, but he obeyed. On the 35th blade, Demir lost control. He swung too hard, too fast, trying to force the steel into shape. The billet cracked down the middle. All those hours wasted. He dropped the hammer chest, heaving, anger rising.
This is pointless. I'll never get it right. I should have stayed with the others. I should have.
Dernak's cane smacked his shin.
Quit your whining. Ye think I made my first good blade in a week? I spent 20 years making scrap before I forged one sword worth swinging. 20 years, boy. You've barely been at it 20 days. Pick up the hammer.
Demir clenched his teeth. Slowly he did. By the 40th blade, something changed. Demir no longer thought about each swing. His body moved in rhythm guided by the steel itself. Heat hammer, fold, quench. Over and over until the steps blurred into instinct. When he put the blade into oil, he got another skill notification.
Is this a cooling skill?
He said to himself. When he pulled the blade from the oil, it gleamed straighter than any before. The line of the edge was cleaner. It flexed, then held when he struck it against the anvil. Dernak eyed it.
Ugly eye, but it's a sword, a real one. Maybe you live long enough to make one worth swinging.
Demir allowed himself a thin smile. He was exhausted, covered in soot, his hands raw, but inside a spark of pride glowed. That night, Demir walked to the tree line with the day's offering of meat. He set it down, bowing his head slightly.
I don't know why you follow me, but thanks. I'll get stronger. I'll forge something worthy.
A low growl rumbled from the dark. Silver eyes glimmered between the trees. The wolf stepped forward just enough for Demir to see her before vanishing again. Demir exhaled, heart pounding. He turned back toward the forge, ready to face another day. 50 blades. 50 lessons. And maybe if he endured a sword that would not fail him when it mattered most. Chapter 67, Shadows and Surveillance. Date, 3480. Second quarter, Chalice Theocracy. Aris woke up still horrified and couldn't concentrate even in class or when picking out herbs. He faintly remembered Navir saying something. Before going to the alchemy chamber, he wrote a note and gave it to Fox to deliver to Lyra. The alchemy chamber was warm and smelled faintly of honey root. Aris muttered over his tally of herbs, lips moving as he scratched figures on scrap parchment.
2 bundles. Swiftgrass, 1 mudroot, still missing silverleaf. Without it, I can't even attempt cure disease. Well, I don't need that anyway.
His satchel looked pitiful compared to the long list of recipes pinned to the wall. Fox yawned on the table.
You're muttering like an old drunk counting coins. Just admit it. You're not going to complete the whole list before the next dungeon.
Aris ignored him, leaning over his bundles.
If I just...
The door creaked. Aris froze, every muscle locking like a rabbit spotting a hawk. The figure who entered was short for a wolfkin, her muzzle narrower fur streaked with gray. Aris's heart thumped. A Chalice Templar had questioned him just a night ago. Had they sent someone to finish the job? The wolfkin's eyes met his, and then the face shimmered. For half a heartbeat, Aris recognized the eyes even though they weren't the same eyes. Aris sagged with relief.
Lyra. By the gods. I thought Chalice sent another one.
The wolfkin smirked, tail flicking.
What was so important you had to call me through your fox courier? Even this big mouth didn't blab.
Hey.
Aris swallowed.
A crusader came to me. Gold sash, heavy armor named Kurvadan. Asked about you.
Lyra's smile vanished.
Ugh. What exactly did he say?
Aris repeated the questions as best he could. Lyra listened, expression unreadable, until he pressed.
What did you do to agitate them?
Nothing. High Priestess ordered some mechanical projects. I did them. Threatened me same as the last builder who got too curious. He lies underground now.
And?
And I was busy with that for a month. You know that.
Fox hopped down from the table.
He's asking what you did. As in what you did to piss off a crusader.
Nothing important. I snooped around a little as a human. Pretended I was a guard. And lied that some halfling killed the guard. That sort of thing.
She looked away a little too quickly. Aris's temper stirred.
Is it going to be like this? You expect me to be loyal to risk myself and you won't trust me?
Lyra hesitated, then sighed.
It's not that simple. If I tell you everything, it drags you deeper. You're already in danger just knowing me.
We're already in danger. This whole country's a zealot hive.
Fine.
Lyra pulled something from her satchel, a box of brass and crystal humming faintly. Then she pulled the cable and attached it to her sphere artifact that showed stats. She twisted a gear, and a pale blue sheet of light spread out in the air, forming a flickering screen. Just blinked.
That's a surveillance feed.
Lyra adjusted dials. The projection started to show a surveillance room with Chalice Templars and priests monitoring the whole of Chalice. Lyra's wolfish lips curled.
High Priestess wanted me to install a recorder in her private library salon. Said it was for safety. In truth, she wants the room bubbed before a summit of the 11 kings. So I bubbed hers.
Aris stared.
This is a proper control room, with screens, with everything. How are you even getting this feed?
Before Lyra could answer, Fox's tail bristled.
Look, something's happening.
On the central screen, 2 armored guards dragged in a pale, battered figure. They strapped him into a metal chair worked with cruel hooks and glowing runes. Magical chains wrapped around his limbs, each link shining faintly. Aris's throat tightened.
Who is that?
Lyra's voice was hushed.
Shadowborn male. See the chains? That's chains of Atlas. Wolfkin invention designed to suppress high-level Shadowborn mages. Whoever he is, he's dangerous.
The door opened and High Priestess Eloria entered. Even through the shimmer of the screen, her presence was suffocating, gilded robes, silver circlet wings like folded light. Her heels cracked against marble as she spoke.
You see this room? Every inch of this world is under my boot. I am running this world. Now talk, or you will not see another day.
The Shadowborn spat blood on the floor.
Nothing to say to likes of you.
Eloria's lip curled.
A shame. We gave much to the likes of you, made you what you are, all your powers thanks to me.
The prisoner chuckled, ragged.
We gave back what was given to us tenfold.
Her hand lashed across his face, but he only grinned through the blood.
Who ordered you to kill the human faction's king, Augustus Telemus?
Human faction?
Shh. Non-player human faction.
State secret.
The Shadowborn winked lips split. Her eyes narrowed.
If I do not know it, it is no secret.
The Shadowborn leaned back as much as the chains allowed.
Then you are not in the state. Not really.
Aloria's voice broke into a scream.
I am the state.
Her aura flared wings, blazing like a second sun.
I know the replicator who shat you into existence. I ordered the witness stones that shaped your powers, traitor.
The Shadowborn's laughter was hoarse but defiant.
I serve the true resonance of this world, not you or your ambition to be a false god.
His grin turned thin.
Kill me if you dare.
Aloria raised her hand. Veins bulged across the prisoner's body, bursting in crimson sprays. He convulsed eyes, rolling white, yet still alive, still breathing. At last she exhaled, lowering her hand.
Not yet. Keep him alive. He will serve as bait at the summit. His owner will come sniffing.
Her guards bowed low, dragging the trembling Shadowborn away. Lyra closed the projection with a snap. The light folded into the brass box. For a moment the alchemy chamber was silent except for the hiss of the cauldron fire. Aris's hands were shaking.
What did we just watch?
Fox's ears were flat.
Whatever it wasn't supposed to be seen.
Lyra's face was pale under the wolfkin glamour.
I need to go. Keep your head down, Aris. Study your exams. Don't draw attention.
She tucked the device away and slipped toward the door. Aris opened his mouth, but she was already gone. He turned back to his herbs, staring blankly at the bundles. He tried to focus, to grind mudroot, to measure swiftgrass. But his mind replayed the veins bursting under Aloria's hand, the Shadowborn's defiance. His hand slipped. The cauldron boiled wrong. Another failure.
Kid, snap out of it. These things are way beyond our depth. You focus on getting better. Duels are coming along. Remember that.
Aris tried to gather his thoughts.
Yeah, you're right.
Kid, also, I noticed something. Everything they teach prepares students for dungeons, one way or another.
What do you mean?
Well, healing was crucial to survive the first dungeon, and shields were crucial to the second. And now, they will duel you against each other.
So the third dungeon could be, we face humanoids to fight?
Exactly. So even though these potions are a good addition if they're not giving XP study fighting, I advise.
Chapter 68, Combat Training. Date, 30-30-80. Second quarter, Chalice Theocracy. The giant halls of the academy echoed with footsteps and murmured conversations. Students clustered around a massive board, mounted on the stone wall names and class assignments written in neat script. The air smelled of old parchment and incense mixed with the sweat of nervous first-years trying to spot their names. Auric came close to Aris, trying to see his name.
Don't have to look. We're in the same class. Main teacher is Rathvoss.
He'll probably go back to hating me now that I separated from the human kids faction.
At the class, pretty much the same faces appeared. But new faces from other classes who chose the Templar route filled empty seats. The room was different, transformed. Desks and chairs had been removed, leaving only open floor space. Rathvoss entered the class with the same demeanor, high-chin, demeaning look armor, polished to a gleam that caught the light from high windows.
Congratulations on choosing the right profession. All those priests will either become lapdogs to assigned country leaders, or worse, you could have become scribes.
His lip curled with disgust.
As you can see, I removed desks and chairs. Before passing the third dungeon, you don't need any theoretical knowledge. Either learn pain-giving spells and gut-wrenching weapon attacks. It is up to you.
One human raised his hand.
Then what are we going to do? You will prepare each other for the harshness of the world. Pair with each other and start punching.
When he saw puzzled faces, he added,
I mean spar. Improve your talents. I will inspect and give ideas. I will take notes as well. Don't worry.
Aris and Auric paired into two. Aris looked at the lengthy wolfkin friend.
Don't hit too hard.
Then don't use those millions of light missiles.
I won't. I can't. Not now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know much about close combat. My dad taught me a couple wrestling moves.
Fine, I'll teach you. You can teach me attack spells.
Sure, I only know light missile anyway.
Oh boy. Really? You can't enter top 30 like this.
Auric and Aris sparred for a couple hours, resting every now and then. But some of the sparring was going rough and sometimes turning into actual fighting. Rathfos was barking.
Keep your temper. This is not the place.
Rathfos came to Aris and Auric.
Why are you two sparring like an old couple? Show some grit. Aris, flare up those missiles. Auric, use the training dagger.
After class, Aris was kind of learning the intricacies of hand-to-hand fighting thanks to Auric.
You gonna study at the library again?
No. I was going to pick out herbs at the garden and the woods.
What? Why? Who is giving you these stupid assignments?
Myself. But since we need to both get better, come with me to the woods. I'll teach you light missile while you practice. I pick out herbs. Later we can spar actually in the open.
I'm open.
They reached the back of the academy woods. Aris started showing light missiles, his hands weaving patterns in the air, small orbs of light forming and dissipating.
Could this be upgraded to Holy Smite? Because I need that to smite down those Shadowborns.
I don't know really.
While Auric was trying to produce light missiles, Aris gathered enough herbs to continue his potion making. The forest floor was damp from morning dew mushrooms growing in patches between tree roots.
Why are you gathering those anyway?
He asked, watching a small orb of light flicker and fade from his palm.
I will make potions for the third dungeon. I don't have money to buy.
Come on, what can you make that helps in there? You're probably a dabbler.
Aris gritted his teeth. He thought to himself, when you're stuck at level 1, you have to take every bit necessary.
I think someone slow developing like myself needs help. Now you want to spar for real?
Sure, I'm down.
Auric was producing small light missiles, and tracing targets was slower than his hand-to-hand combat skills. But he needed to add stuff to his arsenal, and Aris was trying to counter them with his magic shield and wooden training dagger. After they were both tired, Auric said,
I don't know if we're getting better, but it was a good workout.
I am getting better. I feel it. Now before darkness falls, I will head into the alchemy room at the basement. You want to come?
Sure, let's go.
At the alchemy room, Aris started hanging fresh-cut herbs to dry and picked out the ones already dried. He prepared the minor strength tonic, red thorn berry bear claw powder, and ale base.
I realized I can always make good potions, so I now light all 3 cauldrons and make small batches, and pray it works.
That's odd. You always come up with odd stuff. If you know the recipe and you have correct ingredients, why fail?
I don't know.
But the reality was, he was a player, and the game put these stupid rules so they couldn't produce infinitely when they found ways to produce herbs with their skills. Aris combined items in 3 different cauldrons, and when he saw a faint glow at the third, he closed its fire and waited for it to cool.
I think this one worked. Tomorrow I can bottle it.
What did you make?
It's a strength potion.
Hey, I want one of those.
Sure, I can give you all my experiments before the third dungeon.
And suddenly the door creaked, and Lyra entered in her wolfkin disguise.
Aris? I need you to...
She stopped seeing Auric.
Sorry. I didn't know you had friends.
Who are you? I didn't know the academy had wolfkin staff. I am Orc, by the way.
Aris panicked.
She works at the laundry side. She wanted the desk clothes. She saw them all dirtied from my experiments.
Yeah. Young man, be careful in the future.
She yanked the tablecloth and walked away. Auric crossed his ears.
What was that? Her accent was also weird. I guess she is not from the Atlas region.